For decades, we've been warned about visceral fat, the silent killer that wraps around your organs, dramatically increasing your risk of heart disease and diabetes. But recent research has uncovered something potentially more dangerous, a hidden type of fat that increases your 10-year mortality risk by 15%. That's more than double the risk from obesity alone. This fat doesn't just show up at the bathroom scale or create a visible belly bulge to warn you, yet it can accumulate even in people who appear fit and healthy. This hidden threat is fat that builds up in and around your muscles, known scientifically as myostatosis or intermuscular adipose tissue. It's linked to heart problems, metabolic dysfunction, mobility limitations, increased mortality, and yet people remain completely unaware of its existence. Today, I'm going to expose this hidden risk, explain what muscle fat is, and most importantly, share the specific strategies that can help you eliminate it from your body before it's too late. Before we dive into this, let me explain exactly what we're dealing with here, because there are actually two types of muscle fat that pose different threats to your health. First, there's what scientists call intermuscular fat, or IMAT. Think of this as the between the muscle fat. It's like the marbling you see in a steak, but instead of being evenly distributed, it forms in the spaces between your different muscle groups. It wedges itself into the natural divisions between muscles underneath the tough wrapping that holds your muscles together. This fat doesn't just sit there harmlessly, it actively disrupts how your muscles communicate with each other and significantly reduces your strength and coordination. The second type is even more concerning. It's intramuscular fat. This is the inside the muscle fat. Imagine your muscle fibers as a bundle of straws. Now picture tiny droplets of oil, not just around the straws, but actually seeping inside them and between them. These fat droplets infiltrate the very cells that are supposed to be contracting and generating force in your muscles. It's like trying to run an engine with water in the fuel line. The machine simply can't function properly. What makes both types so dangerous is that unlike the fat underneath your skin that you can pinch, these fat deposits are invisible from the outside, yet have profound effects on your health. They create local inflammation, interfere with muscle energy production, and gradually turn a once powerful muscle into a weakened, inefficient version of itself. Now you might be thinking, what if I have some fat in my muscle? How bad could it really be? The answer? Worse than you can imagine. A major study published in the Journal of Radiology followed nearly 9,000 adults who appeared healthy at the beginning. Over a 9-year period, those with higher levels of muscle fat had a significantly higher death rate, and muscle fat was found in 55% of those who died during the study. These were people who looked fine on the outside. Their problem wasn't visible obesity, but this hidden fat inside their muscles. And beyond the mortality risk, here's what else muscle fat does to your body. First, it damages your heart health. Research published in the European Heart Journal found that people with more muscle fat had poor blood flow in their heart's small vessels, a condition called coronary microvascular dysfunction. This dramatically increases your risk of heart attacks, heart failure, and death. Second, it wrecks your metabolism. Muscle fat is strongly linked to insulin resistance and diabetes, even in people who aren't particularly overweight. Your muscles are supposed to be your body's primary site for what you call glucose disposal. That means you can use that for energy. But when they're infiltrated with fat, they become resistant to insulin's effects. Third, it destroys your physical function. People with higher muscle fat walk slower, can't walk as far, and struggle with basic activities like getting up from chairs, climbing stairs, and maintaining balance. Studies show that those with the most muscle fat are 50 to 80% more likely to develop mobility difficulties as they age. And if all that wasn't concerning enough, muscle fat is also linked to weaker bones and higher chances of hip fractures, something that can permanently change your quality of life in your later years. So what actually causes this dangerous fat to build up in your muscles? There are 4 main factors to consider. The first is aging. While muscle fat often increases as we get older, research suggests this isn't just an unavoidable part of getting older. Instead, it's more related to becoming less active and developing health problems as we age. This actually is good news because it means even as we get older, we can take action to prevent and reduce muscle fat. The second and most significant factor is inactivity. Being sedentary is strongly linked to more muscle fat. Studies show that after just 30 days of not using a limb, Young, healthy adults show a 15 to 20% increase in muscle fat. Even more telling, research on identical twins found that more active twins had 54% less muscle fat than their inactive siblings. Same genes, dramatically different muscle health. The third factor is existing health conditions. Conditions like diabetes, obesity, and metabolic syndrome are strongly associated with increased muscle fat. The same goes for conditions affecting your nervous system or muscles like a stroke, spinal cord injury, and multiple sclerosis. Inflammatory conditions like rheumatoid arthritis also increase your risk. Finally, muscle injuries often lead to fat building up during the healing process. This happens with whiplash, sports injuries, accidents, and even after surgery. If you've had an injury that seems to be healing slowly or incompletely, increased muscle fat might be part of the problem. Now, let me share a practical 12-week plan based on research studies that have shown success in reducing muscle fat. For the first 4 weeks, start with just 2 resistance training sessions per week. Focus on full body exercises like squats, lunges, chest presses, rows, and shoulder presses. Begin with just 1 set of 12 repetitions for each exercise, using a weight that makes the last maybe 2 to 3 repetitions challenging but doable. For your aerobic exercise, start with just 2 to 3 sessions per week, 20 minutes each. Choose activities you enjoy: walking, cycling, swimming, and my favorite, dancing. Anything that gets you moving. Keep the intensity moderate. You should be able to talk but not sing. For weeks 5 through 8, increase to 2 sets per exercise, still twice weekly, and gradually increase weights as 12 repetitions becomes easier. For your aerobic exercise, increase to 30 minutes per session, 3 to 4 times weekly. Start adding short intervals of higher intensity, maybe 30 seconds of faster walking, followed by 90 seconds of recovery. For weeks 9 through 12, progress to 3 sets per exercise, 2 to 3 times weekly, continuing to gradually increase weights. Your aerobic exercise should reach 40 to 45 minutes per session, 4 to 5 times weekly, including longer intervals of 1 to 2 minutes at higher intensity. Remember that consistency is more important than intensity, especially when starting out. This gradual progression helps prevent injury while still providing enough stimulus to reduce muscle fat. Research shows that even modest improvements in physical activity can begin to decrease muscle fat within 12 weeks. And while exercise is crucial, combining it with smart nutrition significantly enhances your results. Let me share the most effective dietary strategies for combating muscle fat. First, aim for a moderate calorie reduction, about 10 to 15% below your maintenance level. Combined with the exercise we just discussed, research shows this combination produces much better results than either approach alone. Second, prioritize protein. Consume 0.70 to 1 gram per pound of body weight daily to preserve muscle mass while you're losing fat. Third, be strategic with carbohydrates. Not all carbohydrates are created equal when it comes to fighting muscle fat. High glycemic carbs cause rapid blood sugar and insulin spikes, which can promote fat storage in muscles. Instead, focus on fiber-rich, low glycemic carbs like vegetables, berries, whole grains, and legumes. These foods moderate blood sugar response and feed beneficial bacteria that produce compounds shown to improve metabolic health and reduce fat accumulation. Fourth, choose the right fats. Certain fats like omega-6s in high amounts promote inflammatory pathways that can worsen muscle fat infiltration. On the other hand, omega-3 fats become incorporated into cell membranes, improving their flexibility and function, which enhances insulin sensitivity and reduces fat accumulation in muscle tissue. Emphasize anti-inflammatory omega-3 sources like fatty fish, walnuts, and flax seeds, while minimizing processed vegetable oils, fried foods, and processed snacks that are in your cupboards. Finally, don't overlook hydration. Proper hydration supports fat metabolism by maintaining blood volume and efficient circulation. Research shows even mild dehydration can reduce metabolic rate by 2 to 3%. Aim for at least 64 ounces of water daily, and consider limiting alcohol, which temporarily stops fat burning as your liver prioritizes and processes it. While diet and exercise are the foundation, certain supplements show promise for supporting your efforts against muscle fat. Vitamin D deserves special attention. Research has found that vitamin D deficiency is associated with greater fat infiltration in muscles, particularly in older adults. Supplementation with 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily may help, especially if you're deficient. Vitamin D regulates calcium handling in the muscle cells, influences muscle protein synthesis, and helps control inflammation that contributes to muscle fat. Another option is CLA. Dosages of 3 to 6 grams daily may help reduce muscle fat while preserving muscle mass. Studies show that CLA can increase fat oxidation in muscle tissue and inhibit fat cell formation. Look for supplements containing a mix of the active isomers, especially the CES9, trans-11, and trans-10, CES12 forms. Omega-3 fatty acids are also promising. Research suggests that 1 to 3 grams daily of EPA and DHA from fish oil may help reduce inflammation associated with muscle fat and improve insulin sensitivity by enhancing cell membrane function and activating genes associated with fat metabolism. Remember that supplements should be considered additions to, not replacements for, proper nutrition and exercise. Always consult with a healthcare provider before starting supplements, especially if you have existing health concerns or you are taking any medications. As we've seen today, muscle fat is a serious but often overlooked health risk. The good news is that you can take action right now to reduce it and significantly improve your health. Start with the fitness protocol we discussed, even if you begin with just 2 30-minute sessions per week. You'll be making progress regardless. Combine this with the nutrition strategies we just covered, focusing on protein distribution, smart carb choices, and anti-inflammatory fats. Remember that consistency is key. Small, sustainable changes often produce the best long-term results. You don't need to transform your entire lifestyle overnight. Start with manageable changes and build from there. This is Dave. Stay healthy, stay strong, be informed, and not influenced. We'll see you guys next time on the channel.